All right, Ian, we have a Patreon.
We do. You go to patreon.com/CU podcast and you take a look at the menu and you order off that menu.
It's not like going to Wendy's, Ian. There's no value menu anymore.
Because it's all a value menu.
It's all a value menu?
It's all a value menu.
Except for the top end where you get to chat with Ian once a month. The rest is a good value. That's a good value too, though. I should be paying Ian to talk to him more, I think.
Anyway.
Like an early 90s 900 number commercial. How were those even legal back then? Every commercial. Did you ever call one of the 900 numbers? Oh my God, you did?
I did once.
Was it a wrestling one?
No, I don't remember what it was. It was like some bizarre Halloween time. Like 900 number.
Wow, okay. Yeah. Talk to Elvira. She had one probably. I would have talked to Elvira. Patreon poll topics. In last place at 8%, Ian's one goes down in flames. What's the dream convention panel you want to see? 8%. Second place, hanging on. What pinball arcade games would be in your dream arcade? 19%. And in first place with 73%, which is a Putin presidential poll. What modern games should Ian force Pat to play and why? Ian, you got to sell me on some games there, or force me. If you can duct tape me down to a chair, Clockwork Orange style, and put a controller in my hand, peel my eyeballs open, give me like three to five games I should play and why.
I'd probably make you play Skyrim just so you can see what an open world game is actually like, a modern open world game, because you haven't played one.
Breath of the Wild, you don't consider it?
I would, but you've played Breath of the Wild for 30 hours.
That's not enough to get a feel?
Okay, I mean, that's a start.
But no, Skyrim, I was interested in Skyrim whenever it came out, 10 years ago. Was it 5 came out?
Yeah. No, Skyrim is 5.
This is 5 for Elder Scrolls. I was interested at the time. I remember buying it for 360 at the swap meet when I actually had my 360 hooked up. So I was getting close to there. I almost played that one. I think I'll enjoy like crafting my own guy and getting armor and spells.
I think you would enjoy it.
Arrow to my knee stuff.
Don't. I would also say...
so I was there with you.
I would also say something like Splatoon 2, because you're a Nintendo fan and you enjoyed online shooters in the past. I don't see any reason why you wouldn't enjoy this one.
It's a little weird, though, because it's not all about killing the other team, though. It's about strategy and, it's also third person, though. I'm not a big fan of third person shooters.
You wouldn't know, though, until you tried.
Okay.
I mean...
I do own Splatoon. I think I do. I think I own it. Did I buy it? No, I don't own Splatoon. Do I? I don't know if I own it. I don't think I ever bought it.
And then I would probably say, oh, geez. Do you
think I'd be good at Splatoon? Do you think my skills would transfer over to it?
You might be.
A little twitchy. I'm good at twitchy stuff. Good at hand-eye coordination.
You might be okay.
Good at twitchy stuff.
I'd want you to play something like Dark Souls. Not because I think you need to, necessarily, but because then you'd understand exactly what people are talking about, and because... I think you would actually like it. I'm not saying you should play Dark Souls because I'm a massive Dark Souls fan, but I think to understand modern video games, you probably do need to play something like Dark Souls.
What does Dark Souls have that Games Before it did not?
So it's a culmination of things. It's the very extreme difficulty.
Okay, there's been hard games before, but...
It's very open-ended.
Okay.
So there's a lot of trial and error along with the difficulty. And it's a game that has influenced the past 5 years of gaming very much. Until you've played it, you're not going to understand. Yes, there have been hard games before. Yes, there have been open games before, but nothing quite like this. The game is all about preying on your on risk reward in a way that many games don't really. Well,
give me an example of that. Like, what do you risk to get something?
Well, progress comes at a very high cost. If you have to push yourself during the game to make it to, say, the next checkpoint. And if you die, you don't just you have to go back through it all again. So the question comes:
there's no safe spots.
There are safe spots, but going back to the safe spot to save respawns all the enemies. So it's not like you can just level up a ton.
And then go through.
You can grind, but your grind is only going to get you so far. You can't necessarily just brute strength your way through any part of the game.
Skill.
There's a lot of skill involed.
Okay, I like it. It feels more like life and death than most video games.
Yes,
I like it.
Well, whether I agree that the games can there's room for a game like that to be played on an easier mode, et cetera, but the game does create. If the game grabs you as it is, a Dark Souls type game, the reward for completing seemingly mundane tasks like beating a boss or something again, it feels a lot greater than the sum of its parts. It feels like playing a video game when you were a kid again. It feels like beating that hard boss, like it means something. Yet they've found a way to meaningfully translate that into the modern era. It's unique. And I'm not the biggest fan of the games. The detractors against the games, they all have good points. But to understand modern games, I do think Dark Souls is something you would probably have to play.
You said it's in the last 5 years games. Will be that first one did or the last one did?
Well, within the past 10 years, whenever the first one came out, I don't even.
It was 2011. I looked it up.
2011. So since the first one came out, or even Demon's Souls, that was the first one I played. That was the precursor.
Is it on Switch at all? Dark Souls?
Yes, the Dark Souls Remastered is on the first. The first Dark Souls was remastered and released on Switch. Vonnie had it for a brief, realized it was not for her.
Would 2 and 3 just melt the Switch? They can't be on there?
No, honestly, you could probably put them on there. But yeah, it's a really good version of what I saw. I saw her playing.
You know, Ian, I will get Dark Souls on Switch for you.
Well, there you go.
I will try it.
Give it a go.
For Ian. Should I stream it?
Yeah, you probably should.
So it's risk reward. So, okay, I see. That's what you're saying. So it's not
I like the basic gameplay of Dark Souls a lot. I don't like getting lost in games. I hate getting lost in games.
You get lost in it?
Yeah, I hate getting lost in games. So that's kind of the thing that kills Dark Souls a little bit for me. But I still think it's a worthwhile genre. It's a worthwhile game and a worthwhile genre.
Like being lost like in a dungeon, you mean, or not knowing where to go?
Yeah, just not knowing where to go.
Interesting. Okay, Ian sold me on. He sold me on the Dark Souls. He Dark sold me on that.
There we go.
I'm not sold on Splatoon. I don't know how much I've been into that. Plus, because you got to rely on all your teammates who could be idiots and ruin it for you, without any single player thing. It doesn't appeal to me as much. But Dark Souls sounds pretty fun. And any other ones I should check out? You think I'd like?
We can revisit this topic later. Off the top of my head, no, there's nothing just jumping out at me.
You think I love a game like the SpiderMan game? For some reason, it doesn't appeal to me. I have the PS3 sitting over there with the game.
The more cinematic a game gets,
PS4.
The less interest I have in it.
Yeah,
I like that's fine. Like Death Stranding is out, and we can just tack it on to the end of this. Like I like Kojima, and I like his stories. I think Kojima does neat stuff with stories, but this game looks to be the absolute culmination of a movie that you just play, oddly somehow without being a David Cage game, which would be like Detroit Beyond Human or whatever the fucking games were called. Beyond Two Souls, Detroit Something Human, Heavy Rain. But anyways, it's not like an interactive movie like that, but it just seems to be that culmination of the gameplay is getting in the way of what I really want to do, which is make a movie. Yeah,
and I hate to say it, the Spider-Man game to me looked a little bit like that too on PS4.
Yes, it looked very much like that.
When I was watching I watched a lot of the gameplay before it came out because I love Spider-Man. When I couldn't tell at what points it was a cutscene versus like an assisted almost cutscene where you're just pressing a button to web swing, and I'm just like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a game anymore to me. I'd rather just watch someone play it and get through the story. If that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like having an effect on the game. Even the fight scenes seem like they're overly choreographed on these games.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, you watch it and you're like, man,
you're not in control.
You're like, oh, that's gameplay footage. That combat looks great. How does it look great? Well, obviously, I can't be controlling it that much.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's where the line gets weird for me.
And at that point, I will just go and play Dragon's Lair again because I like Dragon's Lair. If I want to play a movie game,
the Spider-Man game is Dragon's Lair.
You're playing Dragon's Lair. Just go play Dragon's Lair.
Which there's a mini arcade version coming out, like all these other really? 1UP ones. I don't think 1UP's doing it though. Who's doing it? This is a weird podcast. We're just going all over. Dragon's Lair mini arcade. Who's making it? Because now all these companies are making this. New Wave Toys is making it. The prototype is out for it. Oh, it's a small. Oh, it was on Kickstarter. We didn't know about this. Oh, you got 14 days of back, Ian. Replicate 1/6 replica. Oh, it's not a 1UP one. It's a 1/6 one. It's like a 1 or 2 feet.
That I actually have interest in.
Okay, Ian. Well,
but that's the thing. This
could be. You want to add a topic? We can add impromptu topic. We got time. Short podcast.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying, like it's amusing to me. They just put this out on everything. I just got it on Switch through limited run games.
It's $90 if you want it.
Cute.
$90 for. It's one of the ones you can play with your little finger. Yeah, see that to me is almost too small because I can't really actually play it. I've seen like those ones with the little spinners that are so tiny.
Yeah,
so, like they have like a
Tempest.
There's a Tempest.
There's a Tempest one. There's also a very tiny Centipede.
So many companies are doing these now. Like they figured out with the past couple of years, there's like 4 or 5 different companies doing these.
Yeah,
it seems right, and they're like these, 1-to-1 replicas at whatever. They're like a foot tall of these handcrafted wood cabinet. This one is. All right, there you go. It's $90 for you, or $25 for a insert 50-cent keychain.